Today, we're talking about a name that's just legendary. A name that brings up so many feelings: superstardom, tragedy, and a legacy that just will not fade. Of course, I'm talking about the one and only Selena Quintanilla Perez.
But this isn't going to be just a simple biography. We're going to dig a little deeper. We're trying to figure out what really makes a queen. How does someone earn a title that huge, that permanent? And let me tell you, Selena's story, it's the perfect place to find the answer.
Okay, so before we can really get into Selena's incredible impact, we've got to understand the world she stepped into. And that world was Tejano music. It's this amazing mix of cultures, and it was the very stage where she would launch a revolution.
All right, let's get into it. Our story starts where so many great ones do, right? Humble beginnings and a talent so big you just couldn't possibly ignore. Right from the start, music was just everything in her life. It was literally in her blood. Her dad, Abraham, he'd been a musician, so he had the ear for it. And he knew almost instantly that his daughter's voice wasn't just good, it was something really, really special, a gift that had to be shared.
So what do you do with a talent like that? Well, if you're Abraham Quintanilla, you build a band around her. And that's how we get Selena and Los Dinos. But this wasn't just some hired gun professional group. No way. This was a total family affair. You had Selena on lead vocals, obviously. Her brother AB was on the bass, and her sister Suzette was on the drums. And that family dynamic, it became the bedrock of her entire career.
And man, her rise was just meteoric. I mean, think about this for a second. She's performing professionally at just 9 years old. 9. The whole family spent the 80s on the road, hitting every corner of Texas, building this incredibly loyal fan base one concert at a time, and all that hard work paid off because by 1989, boom, she lands a major record deal with EMI Latin. Okay, so now she's got the record deal. This is where things get really interesting. She's about to go from a Texas favorite to an absolutely unstoppable force, someone who's going to change the game completely.
You really have to picture this. The Tejano music scene at the time, it was a total boys' club. Seriously. And then, in walks Selena. With this insane charisma, a voice that just commands your attention, and a stage presence that was just pure energy and joy. She wasn't asking for a seat at the table. She was building her own.
And then came the song, the one that changed everything. Como La Flor. I mean, this wasn't just another hit single. It became an anthem. This was the rocket ship that took her from being a regional Texas star to a superstar known all across the Latin music world.
All right, so fast forward just 2 years. She's about to hit a milestone that will cement her place in history forever. The year is 1994.
This is huge. With her album Live, she does something no woman in Tejano music had ever done. She wins a Grammy. And listen, this wasn't just an award. This was a coronation. After this moment, the title Queen of Tejano, it wasn't a nickname anymore. It was a fact.
So she's the undisputed Queen of Tejano music. But was she satisfied? Not even close. For Selena, that was just the beginning. She was dreaming much, much bigger.
So what was the next big move? The crossover. The plan was simple but ambitious. Record an album in English and break into the mainstream American and global markets. Songs you probably know and love, like Dreaming of You and I Could Fall in Love, they were crafted specifically to make her a household name everywhere. And get this, her vision went way beyond just the music. She was a brilliant entrepreneur. She launched her own boutiques called Selena Etc. It was genius, really. She was blending her incredible fashion sense with her music, creating a whole brand. It showed she understood the culture and wanted to be in the driver's seat of her own image.
So let's just recap here. She's at the absolute peak, on the cusp of global superstardom. Her talent is off the charts, her ambition is endless, everything is pointing up. And that's when this incredible story takes the most devastating, tragic turn imaginable.
It's a date that, for her millions of fans, is just burned into memory.
She was only 23 years old. 23, at the absolute height of her career and her life. And she was murdered by the president of her own fan club. The shock was just immense. A light with so much potential was just gone.
But here's the incredible thing. While her life was tragically cut short, her story, it was nowhere near over. In fact, in a really powerful, bittersweet way,
Her death was the beginning of her becoming this immortal cultural icon.
I mean, just let this sink in. That English-language crossover album, Dreaming of You, it was released after she passed away, and it debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200 chart. #1. She was the first Latin artist in history to do that. She achieved her biggest dream, but she wasn't here to see it.
And her legacy just kept growing. The movie Selena in 1997 with Jennifer Lopez in that star-making role brought her story to a whole new generation of fans. And then, decades later in 2017, she got her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. It was official. She wasn't just a music star, she was a global icon.
You really can't overstate her influence. It's immeasurable. I mean, the list of artists who look to her as an inspiration is just massive. We're talking about some of the biggest names on the planet. Jennifer Lopez, of course, Shakira, even Beyoncé. They all looked at Selena and saw someone who broke down doors and made their own careers possible.
So yeah, her impact goes so far beyond music. It's about breaking barriers. It's about being a shining light of inspiration for so many. She was, and is, a true cultural icon.
So as we wrap this up, it's pretty clear that her story isn't just about gold records and sold-out arenas, right? It's so much bigger than that.
And that brings us right back to where we started, that big question. How does an artist become immortal? Well, I think Selena's life gives us the blueprint. It's not just about having an amazing voice. It's about having the courage to break down walls and having a spirit so bright and so real that it connects with people on a level that, well, it just lasts forever.